This is the clapping activity. This one's a lot of fun. So we break it down for people so they feel more comfortable. We start out with the 2-leg slap, so ready? 2, then we cross. We're going to repeat that 3 times. And cross. One more time. Then cross. The next thing we're going to add in is the clap. So we'll start out with a slap, cross, clap. Do that again. Slap, cross, clap. Then we add in the shoulders, so it'll be slap, cross, clap, shoulders. Slap, cross, clap, shoulders. One more time. Slap, cross, clap, shoulders. Now, if people start getting it, you can encourage them to work a little faster, to work the brain. We could do this for just another minute or so, if people are comfortable. If you see them like all frustrated, you just stop. But if you see them getting it and having fun, then we keep it going a little bit longer and just try to speed it up a little bit. So we'll show you how that goes. So we'll go normal, slap, cross, clap, shoulders, faster, slap, cross, clap, shoulders, faster, clap, cross, clap, shoulders. One more time. Clap, cross, clap, shoulders. And hopefully they'll be laughing their butts off.
We're going to talk about fear of falling cycle. This is a discussion you're going to have with your group after you do an activity that they enjoy. So what you want to consider when you're speaking with them is to explain to them why people stop doing certain activities because they fear falling. Many of them will tell you perhaps they are not doing things that they used to do simply because they're afraid to fall again. And that causes people to stop doing their regular daily activities or things outside their home or going places that they would normally go only because they're afraid of falling. So you have to get them to understand that as they learn how to be stronger, more stable, they can break that fear of fall cycle. But they have to contemplate that. You have to talk with them and allow them to think this process through. So it's a great discussion time. Limit it because people will carry a long conversation sometimes. You want to limit it so that everybody has an opportunity to perhaps have some input or at least a few. Now I'm going to demonstrate the getting off the floor technique for when someone has fallen. There's a few elements to this that really matter. Number one, this is for demonstration only. Participants do not do this activity in class. They will receive a sheet that they will take home and they'll be able to review what they saw in class, and should they ever have the problem, then they'll have some idea of what to do, have a plan. So I'm going to show you what happens. In this case, we'll imagine someone has fallen to the ground. Say I've fallen. So I've fallen and I don't know if I'm hurt. I have to assess myself. So I'm down on the ground and I am not sure if I'm injured. I have to take a moment to assess myself. How do I feel? Am I hurt? Is everything moving well? Do I feel like I might have had a stroke or a heart attack? They have to take a moment. A lot of times people want to jump up and run, and you have to advise them that's the worst possible thing, because should they have something wrong, they could do serious injury to themselves. So they have to be prepared for the idea that when they fall, they have to take the time to assess their well-being before they try to get off of the floor. Second, so now that they've made the assessment and they've determined nothing terrible has happened, they just don't know how to get up, and that is a very common concern. So what we do here is demonstrate to them how they can begin to get up. So imagine they're down on the floor. What are some of the things they need to do to be able to begin to rise? So I'm going to move my body a little bit just so you can see me better. Imagine a body on the floor. What you want people to begin to do is use what we call the triangle bones, the big bones of the body. So not the hands or the wrists, they're not strong enough. You want them to start bringing those elbows in. Once they get those elbows in, they can try to roll over to the elbows, and now they've got a stronger base in that upper body area. Now, The main goal is to try to get them, if they can, to start trying to come to a seated position. If they can, that's fine. If they can't, here's some options for them. So they are somewhat up and they can roll onto the lower part of that back, try to get themselves scooting a bit, moving around the floor, trying to get to a space where they could get to a piece of sturdy furniture. They can do that in a lot of ways. They could also scoot just like a snake. Even if they're way down, they can do some scooting using these big bones, using large bones in the body to help them move around. Once they are able to get to a piece of furniture, this is not a very stable piece of furniture. I encourage sofas, beds, anything that's really strong. But in this case, many places will only have this for you to be able to use this as a demo. So you're going to have to consider talking to them about using much stronger furniture than this is. So what they will do now is they've gotten these elbows, they're working their way up to something. The more they start adding body parts onto the chair, they, again, using the big bones. They're not using hands, they're not using wrists. They're getting these big bones, which are strong. They can start pulling their body up onto the chair. As they do, the more of the weight of the body they can add onto the chair, the more leverage they have to work with. Then they can use toes, anything they can to just start pushing. Once they get one hip onto the chair, the weight of a hip, they can start eking and eking slowly, slowly until they get in a position where they can actually be able to, again, reassess their well-being and perhaps get help. Let's talk about posture control. Some of the activities that we'll do here will help participants really work toward keeping a beautiful alignment in their spine. It makes them feel those muscles and become very aware of the muscles they use for posture. So the first one that we'll do will be turtle. With turtle, participants are bringing their chin down to their level of comfort only, and then rocking back only as far as it feels good to them. Then encourage them to bring it in if they can give it a little squeeze, but never to pain, and rock back. You'll do that activity several times. I'll just show these, and then after that, they work the neck. The next thing you want to do is work the muscles lower down at the shoulder area. So they'll bring their hands by their ears. While they're doing this, the thing you also want to consider is that they want the elbows to be as straight out from the shoulders and horizontal to the ground. So feeling that stretch across the back, feeling nice and strong in the spine, and then they will bring those elbows together as much as they feel comfortable doing, and opening back out. And again, you'll do this one 4 to 5 times, depending on your participants' abilities. The next thing they'll do is a lot of fun. They like this one, but I want them to focus. You have to consider that it's important to use the core. They'll use their hands and grab, so they're also working muscles in their hands, grabbing tight to the horse reins and pulling those reins back. When they do that, they're working wonderful muscles in the upper back area. So you really want them feeling those muscles, concentrating on the work they do, squeezing those hands, pulling those reins back, keeping the elbows as high as they can, and when they come together, really bringing those shoulder blades in for a nice strong workout in that middle body. Then the next thing we'll do is bringing the shoulders up and as high as they are comfortable doing, and then dropping them and letting them melt away. But when they bring them up, they want to give them a little squinch if they can, and dropping them down. You're working all the muscles from the neck through that mid-back area. Now, here's one that everybody enjoys. Everybody seems to have a reminiscence for this one. You're going to bring those hands up and high as they are capable or comfortable. considering on this one, some of the things are your elbows should be out straight at your side, bringing those hands down. And again, as they rise them up, they want to do it only to their level of comfort. But as they're doing that, you want them thinking about, talk to them about what muscles they sense they're using. Because in this case, they're using every muscle all the way from the lower spine all the way up. In the rock around the clock activity, we're going to do stepping around as though each step will be around the face of a clock going clockwise. Later in the activity, you'll reverse that, and people should count out loud because it does more than just give you movement with peripheral vision and the vestibular system with the inner ear. It does other things as well. So they'll be using patterns, which is excellent for the brain. They'll be getting dopamine because they'll be listening to music that comes from their time frame that they really enjoy. As well as then there's another step that we add into this, and that vector step is where people will step forward and then step back into place. As they do that, you want them to look at their hand if they feel comfortable and then return back. So we'll begin. I'll walk you through the process as we do the song. So we'll step forward, look at the hand, step back. We'll go left this time, step forward, and come back to center. You'll do that again. Stepping forward, looking at that hand. We're using vestibular work here, stepping forward, and learning the comfort zone of stepping back into position. Then the participants will bring a leg up for rocking horse movement, but this is called rock around the clock. So they'll start out at 12 o'clock, then count out loud, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and trying to literally stay as though they were looking at the hands of a very large clock, working their way all around. So we would be at 6 o'clock here, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. They're counting out loud, you're counting with them, 11, back to the center. Once you return to center, you'll go to the vector step again. So you'll step forward, looking at that hand, and again, building that comfort zone with stepping backward, stepping forward, looking at their hand, and back to their comfort zone, stepping one more time on each side. Really encourage looking at the hand if they feel comfortable, stepping back into place. This time, we'll reverse the clock movement. So now you're going to be starting at 12, but you'll go 11. Wonderful pattern work. 10. Spatial use, so that they're developing many skills as they're working through this activity. At this point, we would be at 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and back home at 12. Depending on your participant's ability, you will do this perhaps one more time with the vector forward and returning, but each group is going to do it a little bit differently. Just follow your participants and see how they do.
So let's stand up. Now this one, I don't want you worrying about form. I don't want you thinking about anything other than relaxing, bringing those elbows in. When you go down, saying, relax, I'm falling, relax, I'm falling. Okay? You ready? All right, so relax, I'm falling, relax, I'm falling, relax, I'm falling, relax, I'm falling. On the next one, I want you to envision a fall. I want you to see yourself out of the grocery, doing it, falling somewhere where you're going to have to really think about what you're doing and just say, relax, I'm falling. I'm slipping. Relax, I'm falling. Relax, I'm falling. Relax, I'm falling. And just like that. Good. One more time. Really try hard to envision some kind of fall so that you have it in your brain and tell yourself, it's okay. Relax, I'm falling. Relax and flow. Relax and flow. Relax and flow. Beautiful. You're doing a great job. Keeping the head tucked. Keep those elbows in. Tai Chi. Remember, it's actually using the same form we've been talking all about. That's the Alexander. I think Alexander learned from Tai Chi. So it's that wonderful, relaxed, everything's in alignment. When we move, we'll always start on our left side. Now, the movement with the feet is at 10 o'clock and at 2 o'clock each time, and it's not a step out, it's just a bringing the foot to a comfortable position. As you do that and we move back and forth, it's a shifting of weight. So we'll lift toe, shift weight forward. When that toe comes up, the weight is in the heel, but our heels, the whole foot stays flat all the time on that right side. And so it's just a beautiful move, always keeping the muscles activated without being tight. So let's come back to the neutral form. And we'll do push the water again. This time I'd like you to think in your head, really nice warm water. So that not only are you getting relaxation, it might actually help with the pain. Imagine warm water around your body. So try to give yourself that wonderful feeling of warmth. So let's bring our hands up on the table. We're going to bring our left foot out to 10 o'clock. We'll gently push that warm water away and slowly, gracefully bring it back while we lift our foot. Pushing the water away, shifting our weight, blowing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Feel that beautiful warm water gathering up and warming you. Push away. Come back. Last time here. Push. And pull. Foot to center and rest your hands on the table. Beautiful. We'll put our foot out to the right. 2 o'clock. And as we push that warm water away, breathing out, breathing in, lifting the toe, and push, and in. Feel just warm and moving. You're moving that water. You have the power. Push. We'll breathe in, bring our arms up. Breathing out, hands to heart center. And I say namaste. This is such a simple thing, and it can literally save